welcome to my report on our property's electrical systems for October 2023. Our house is in Huntingdonshire, which since 1974 has formed the northwest part of Cambridgeshire in England. This is an outline diagram showing the components of the system, and you can find further details in the description below the video. The first graph shows the electrical energy coming into the property each day from the grid and from our two solar arrays. The figures driving the graph come from the daily readings of the two solar generation meters and the electricity meter. The total solar production this month was 366 units, an average of 11.8 units per day. The lowest production was just 0.4 units on the 20th, and the highest was 25.5 on the 15th. 459 grid units were imported, with 8 at normal rate and the rest at economy 7 low rate. The big blob of red on the 18th was due to the Powerwall running out after believing the forecast that it would be a reasonably bright day. The Powerwall was boosted from the grid on most nights as it changes from its role of storing solar energy to use overnight to storing low-rate energy to use during the day. The Tesla app stated that 9.2 units were exported to the grid, which was 1.1% of the total electrical energy coming in and 2.5% of the solar energy produced. The solar contribution to the month's electricity input was just over 44%. The second graph shows how the electrical energy reached the property in the car, either directly or via the Powerwall. The Tesla app supplies most of these figures, although the car's home charging figures come from the My Energy app. 26.4% of the energy came directly from solar, and an additional 16.1% was solar coming via the Powerwall, giving a total solar contribution to the energy used of 42.6%. The small black blocks on each column represent energy used by the property each night during the low period, when the Powerwall is prevented from discharging and is usually charging from the grid. The larger black rectangle on the 10th was due to overnight charging of my visiting brother's car. From the 17th onwards, the larger black rectangles show that the storage heaters in the annex have started to be used on weekdays by the tenant. Our Zappi charger put 63 solar and 79 grid units into the car, so the 268 miles driven in the month were at a cost of 2.53 pence per mile. This graph shows the energy going into and coming out of the Powerwall each day, as reported by the Tesla app. 88.7% of the energy which went into the battery came back out. And this is the self-power graph based on figures from the Tesla app, which reported that the proportion of self-power, which is energy supplied by the Powerwall or directly from solar, was 61%. But we've reached the time of the year when more than half of the energy coming via the Powerwall was imported from the grid. And here's the graph showing the solar southwest production over the years since installation. 179 units was the 7th best October out of the 12 years, although the weather has sometimes made it feel like it must have been the worst. And 179 is above the month's new arithmetic mean of 176.9 and below the median of 182. Here is the cumulative year-to-date graph for the production from the southwest array. 2023 has improved by one position to 8th place out of the 12 years for the months January to October. This graph shows the daily output of the two solar arrays for the past 365 days. The 28-day moving averages have stayed close to each other throughout the month. And this is the distribution of the energy input and export for the whole of the past year. And this graph shows just the daily solar production for the same period at a larger scale. This final graph shows a summary of our grid activity over the years since we moved here in the summer of 2011. The grey and red lines show the number of low rate and normal rate grid units imported each month as measured on the left-hand scale. And the monthly electricity cost is shown by the yellow line and the right-hand scale. We've been on EDF's standard variable economy 7 tariff since March, when our 2-year fixed tariff ended. Since then we've seen a small rise in our costs, despite the widespread heralding of the reduction in prices for the average household, wherever they are, every 3 months since then. The daily standing charge rose on July the 1st and October the 1st, something which nearly all of us have had to put up with. Yes, the cost of normal rates has been reduced somewhat, but we take very few of those each month. Our low rate units went down by 1/100th of a penny on 1st of July, and then another 12/1000th of a penny on October the 1st. We're hopefully getting closer to having a 3-phase smart meter fitted, after which we can investigate other tariffs. The green line on the graph shows the monthly contribution to the feed-in tariff payments for the old South West's arrays production. And that's all for now. Here are the Tesla app graphs for each day of October, and maybe I'll see you again next month.